What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Um, I really don't know what to say as far as tonight's show goes. Before we do get into it, I know I didn't do a WrestleMania review. Um, Obviously, I was at the show, and I was also staying at a friend's house because he lives closer to the stadium than I do. And by the time we even got back, it was like, I don't even fucking know, 1:30 in the morning. And I was just absolutely exhausted from sitting in the arena for like 9 hours. And then another 3 hours tailgating on top of that. So I was exhausted. I didn't get back home today late until a little bit later in the afternoon. And kind of wanted to watch it a little bit on TV just because there was a few, not just a few, a bunch of things that we pretty much missed just because of the limited view, because of the stupid fucking poles that they have around the ring to put up the structure that's around the ring, and just, the fact that, you don't see everything when you're in the crowd. Especially, I didn't have the best seats in the world, but it is what it is. I did record a few videos from in the crowd, so for people who think on shit like Roman Reigns not being booed, oh, believe me, he was booed. No matter how much the WWE wanted to tone down the crowd's audio. But that's going to be most likely for tomorrow. I'll record one. Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't able to get a review out when I wanted to, but it is what it is, man. I will say that overall WrestleMania was, in my honest opinion, quite disappointing. Obviously, there was a few moments that were cool, especially if you were there live. A couple of cool moments where you mark that a little bit, but overall, especially watching it back on TV, honestly, it was an okay WrestleMania, but overall, between the length of it and then the underwhelming main event, it just didn't send me home all that happy. As far as tonight's Monday Night Raw goes, I was a little disappointed that I couldn't go to Raw After Mania, because usually Raw After Mania is pretty fun, but I can't say that I'm sad that I didn't go, because this show was probably the worst Raw after WrestleMania I have ever seen. There was absolutely nothing here that got me excited whatsoever. The one thing that would have got me excited was ruined, and I'll get into that when we get there. And I just don't know what else there is to say. If you can't put on a Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania and make it exciting or good, then I just don't know what to say about it. I barely even have a voice after last night, so I'm gonna try and get through this. So we're just gonna get right into it, man. I'm just extremely disappointed between last night and then tonight's Raw. Praying to God that SmackDown's at least somewhat enjoyable tomorrow night. So we're just gonna get right into it. Raw starts with Seth Rollins, the new Universal Champion, which I'm surprised he won last night, but like I said, we'll get into that tomorrow when I review Mania. He comes out. It's a pretty hot start. The crowd's, pretty hot as usual for the opening of the show. Comes out, states that we finally have a fighting champion, and it's one that we can all be proud of. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, like I said, it was a hot open in a way, but at the same time, this is the product of WWE Creative, where they book people in a way that it's just hard to fucking care, man. As much as I like Rollins, and as much as I'm glad that the Universal title's back on Raw, I just find it so hard to really give a fuck about any of it. They did nothing really to build you up for it. The Universal title has meant absolute shit since its conception in 2016. So, what is there really to be excited about? Can they build excitement back on it? Yeah, probably, but I'm not going to hold out hope, because this is WWE, and they really don't do anything that overly excites me anymore. I don't know how you guys feel. If you liked tonight's show, I don't know how. Please explain why you liked it, because I really did not. There was nothing on this show that was any good. So anyway, continuing on, Rollins is then interrupted by the New Day. They got a nice pop from the crowd when Big E started screaming over the PA. They come out, and they get in the ring and Kofi's talking about, you know, how Seth is new Universal Champion, he's the new WWE Champion, and how the women's main event last night was winner take all, and he says, you know, why don't we do that tonight? And he challenges Rollins to a title versus title match here, and Rollins accepts, and apparently now talent is just running wild these days, making their own matches. There was nobody that was able to confirm that this match is, you know, now been booked. It just randomly comes up on the screen. So I guess now if you come out on Raw and you just claim you want a match and the other person accepts, it's just automatically made. And in fact, you don't even need time to wait, because in the main event we didn't need time to wait. We just got an impromptu match out of fucking nowhere. Well, we'll get into that when we get to the main event. So Rollins accepts, and yeah, so the match is officially booked for later on tonight. And if you could just tell me, I'm just not excited. I'm excited to give you guys this review because at least I'm going to be real with you. For people who might have been excited just because it was a Raw after Mania, don't get overexcited about the hype, because there was nothing tonight lived up to the hype of Raw after Mania at all, and I'm just here to make you understand why. And if you were excited about anything on the show, I really don't fucking understand it, man. Anyway, our next segment is a tag team match, tag team rematch. Apparently rematches are a thing again. Now, we don't get any explanation why this is a rematch. We just get a rematch between the Revival taking on Hawkins and Ryder for the Raw Tag Team Championships. You know, as far as I was told, that rematches are no longer a thing. So, I don't understand why this match is happening. It didn't need to happen. It did nothing for me. It was nothing really all that great. And Hawkins wins with another roll-up pin like he did at WrestleMania last night on the pre-show. Were you excited? I know I wasn't. Who cares? The crowd did not pop at all, by the way, for Ryder and Hawkins when they came out, because nobody cares. It's the Raw Tag Team Championships. They're about as low on the totem pole as you could possibly get. They're about as valuable as the Women's Battle Royal fucking trophy that looks like the female reproductive system. So, there you go. That's the Raw Tag Team titles for you. Hawkins and Ryder are your Tag Team Champions still. And the Revival might as well be on their way out the fucking door to AEW to take on the Young Bucks, because they're going nowhere on the main roster here in WWE. That's all I gotta say about that. Out next is Corbin. The show continues to just give me no reasons to be excited. He gets chance of shut the fuck up. Then he says New York is real classy for it and expects nothing more from dirty New Yorkers. The crowd are just continuously cheering for all of his insults towards them. I guess they have to cheer for something. There was nothing else on the show to really fucking cheer about, so there you go. New York cheering for insults being hurled towards them by Baron Corbin. Fantastic. Angle then interrupts Corbin, congratulates Corbin, and wishes him luck in his career, since Kurt Angle's career is now over and Corbin's is just beginning. He then wishes him luck, and then he changes it to bad luck, and then he delivers an Angle slam and puts Corbin in the ankle lock, and Corbin instantly taps out. Yet he didn't tap out last night. Illogical bullshit as usual. Again, how could you get excited with this kind of shit? So Corbin doesn't tap out last night, but he's tapping like a drunk man in something that's not even a fucking wrestling match tonight. So again, people were like, "Oh, well, him beating Angle is gonna give Baron Corbin a rub." Yeah, how? Explain to me how it's giving him a rub when Kurt Angle basically just came out tonight and fucking destroyed him in like fucking 30 seconds. Thank you for coming, Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle. Now please go away. So, before Angle does go away, he's interrupted by debuting Lars Sullivan. This didn't really get a pop from the crowd like I thought it might have, but that's what happens when you hold off debuts when they were hyped up fucking, what, like 2 months ago? So, I don't know who's excited for this. I wasn't really excited. He comes in, you know, he's there nonetheless. He hits Angle with a freak accident, and then he delivers Kurt Angle with a flying headbutt from the top rope. The crowd chants asshole. I don't care. This segment did nothing for me as usual. I guess this is how they're running Angle off of TV or whatever. I don't know. I really just don't care. I'm sure Vince McMahon has big plans for Sullivan because he's a big dude, but I don't know. It was a bit underwhelming for a debut as far as crowd reaction goes and as far as impact goes. I mean, giving somebody your finisher on a diving headbutt isn't exactly all that impactful, but it is what it is. It's what we got. It's what we got to deal with. Whatever. I really don't fucking care. We'll see what they do with Lars Sullivan. If he's on Raw, I'm assuming Strowman will probably be on his way to SmackDown with the shakeup taking place next week, which the New Day let us know was happening earlier. And, I mean, unless they're looking to, like, build up a Strowman versus Sullivan match somewhere down the line, which is not something I'm interested in, especially thinking about how Strowman's been, you know, booked the last, like, what, 2 years? I mean, I guess maybe with a little bit of repairing, you can build Strowman back up, but it's going to take a lot to get me excited about him again, because I really don't give a fuck about Braun Strowman. Is it a match that people can get invested in? Yeah, if it's done right. I mean, not any match can get people invested, but this is a match that people could get invested in. Again, it has to be built right, and it won't be, so if that's where they're going, I'm not excited for it, but I can see them definitely going that way. And if it is where they're going, I don't want to see any promos with these guys with the microphone unless it's literally fucking 10 seconds a piece between Braun Strowman being a failure at cutting promos and Lars Sullivan having supposed anxiety, which is why he wasn't debuting earlier. And believe me, I've dealt with anxiety and panic attacks in my life, and I know just how awful they can be and how out of nowhere they can cut. They're like an RKO. They just literally come out of fucking nowhere. So with all those things in play, I really don't want to see them having a feud, period. And if they do, I definitely don't want to see them cutting any type of promos whatsoever, honestly. And it's also, they don't really need to speak. I mean, they're just two big ass dudes. They don't really need to speak much. Just say a couple of fucking quick words and let it be that. But I'm getting off topic. I'm just thinking that's probably where they're going to go, because I just know how Vince McMahon's mind works, and he just loves his fucking big dudes. So we'll see where it goes. I really don't honestly think that they're going to have both of these guys on the same show, but if they do, that's probably where it's eventually going to lead to, because that's just how Vince thinks. Hopefully Strowman goes to SmackDown, because he needs a change. He needs to get the fuck off of Monday Night Raw. Let Lars Sullivan run rampant on Raw, and let Strowman go try and repair himself over on SmackDown. Not that SmackDown's a repair place, because there's people that went to SmackDown and it did nothing for them. So we'll see what happens. Moving on here, Alexa Bliss comes out next. Apparently she's in a match. I could care less. I don't really care to see Alexa Bliss in the ring all that much. Yeah, she's nice to look at, but I mean, it's usually quite boring. Apparently on social media she challenged either Bayley or Sasha to a one-on-one match after insulting them about losing the women's tag team titles. So we're waiting to see who accepts this challenge. It's Bayley. The Bayley Buddy things, the flotation things, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, they're actually working tonight, because they didn't work at WrestleMania last night, like, at all. It looked absolutely embarrassing, including in the crowd. I was just sitting there and I was like, wow, that's fucking embarrassing. Just looks fucking awful. Anyway, moving on. There was one spot in this match where Alexa was bent over, and get your minds out of the gutter, pervs. But anyway, she was bent over. Bayley does a sunset powerbomb thing and sends Alexa's head into the middle turnbuckle. Gets a 2 count, and then Alexa completely no-sells it after that, and then about 15 seconds later hits her DDT and pins Bayley 1, 2, 3. Alexa Bliss wins. I'm gonna tell you right now, if anybody needs a shake-up aside from Strowman, it's Bayley and Sasha. They need to go to SmackDown or something, man. They need to get off this god-awful show known as Monday Night Raw, because they haven't done anything of importance since being on the show, and they're not going to do anything of importance going forward on this show. If they had anything planned for these two of any importance, it would have been done already. The only thing that can possibly save them is this future Horsewoman versus Horsewoman match that we're most likely going to get once Ronda decides to come back to the WWE. Anyway, speaking of the women, out next is your new SmackDown and Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, who in my opinion had her moment severely tarnished last night with that god-awful ending. And it just pisses me off. It's one of the things that really sent me home pissed off. But again, I'll touch on more of that tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon whenever I upload that review. I'm glad she won, but I'm telling you, man, that the stadium, I don't know how it sounded on TV because I didn't get up to that part yet, but in the crowd, I'm going to tell you right now, the entire area that I was in didn't even know the match was over until all of a sudden her music just started playing. It didn't look like a 3 count. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on, and it completely took away from the moment. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If you don't believe me, I think I might have it on video. Maybe. I don't even know if I do, because I was waiting for like a disarmer or something where I knew the match might end, but it ended so fucking abruptly that I don't even know if I caught it on video. Anyway, she comes out. It doesn't take long for her to get a Becky 2 belts chant going. Says she used to bartend not far from the Barclays Center 9 years ago, and how she had nothing and she went into Mania with nothing, but she left with everything. The crowd then starts singing Becky's theme song out of nowhere. She goes on to say how she's mastered the art of survival and that she will always find a way to win. Another chant starts of "You're the man," and then she asks Ronda if she hears it and then calls her a little weirdo as usual. I laughed a little bit. It is kind of funny sometimes, just the way she says it. She says as far as Charlotte goes, the McMahons will probably just hand her the tag team titles to help her get over her loss. And honestly, I mean, is she really lying? I mean, if Charlotte isn't going to be positioned to be chasing again after Becky's title, then I can easily see her being paired up with somebody and going for the tag team titles and then winning. Like it's nothing. Just there you go. So she's really not all that wrong about that. She also says that she's ready to slap the heads off of the entire women's division, which is non-existent at this moment. We then get another annoying interruption by Lacey Evans, who finally gets physical for the first time in God knows how long. Probably since she's been on NXT, because she hasn't gotten physical. She's been on the main roster. She then hits her finisher, the Woman's Right, which is just a god-awful name for a finisher. And Becky Lynch, for the most part, just pretty much no-sells it. I mean, it is a finisher, and she literally just like acts like it was a regular punch. She then runs up and hits Lacey from behind. They start brawling on the stage. She goes to put on the disarmer. Lacey Evans wiggles out of it, and the segment's over. What are you gonna do? I mean, this really didn't do anything for me. And if this is Becky's first title defense, what has Lacey Evans really done to deserve it? She just attacks the champion. She just automatically gets a title shot. If that's the case, then if I was a superstar, I would come out every week and just attack every fucking champion I see and just get granted a title match just for attacking them. Oh, God. Anyway, we're then told that we're going to be tortured by a Bobby Trashley versus Dean Ambrose match. Let me just go throw up in a bag right now, because I don't care. We come back from commercial. We get Rollins. And I don't know who was interviewing him. I don't care. She asks how he felt about being challenged to a title versus title match. He says he felt disrespected by Kofi, and that's why he ultimately accepted the challenge. Says this is his show, and pretty much Kofi has no business on it. Pretty much taking the spotlight away. And he said if Kofi wants to step up, then he better bring his A game, because B+ just isn't enough. We then get Ricochet, who comes out next, and in typical WWE fashion, they took away one of the coolest parts of his entrance, and that's when he's standing on stage and he does his little pose with his hand in the air, and the laser lights are surrounding him, and there's smoke and everything. They took away the laser lights, and now they just got these lame strobe lights going off. So again, taking something that NXT made cool and fucking throwing it in the trash and making it not so cool. So there you go. Congratulations, Ricochet. You're slowly but surely becoming just like everybody else on the main roster. He's obviously teaming with Aleister Black. I don't know if the platform malfunctioned, where he rises up like he's coming out of fucking like a coffin or a grave or whatever. The sound effect was there, but there was no Aleister Black. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Did somebody attack him backstage? Is that why we're not seeing him? No, that's not the case. He just randomly shows up, standing on the stage, doesn't rise up, so obviously the thing malfunctioned. This is why. I get mad when they add stupid shit like sound effects. Yeah, it didn't bother me that much, but this is why you don't need to add stupid shit like that, because they had the sound effect of him, you know, of the creaking, like, you know, like you're in a fucking graveyard, like a haunted house attraction in fucking Disney, and there's no Aleister Black, but you hear the creaking. It just looked fucking stupid. He just randomly appears on stage, and he tries to play it off like nothing happened. It is what it is, man. Slowly but surely, these guys are going to be just like everybody else in the main roster. Unspecial, oversaturated with being seen on television, and booked like utter garbage. They're apparently taking on the team of... who the fuck did they even go against? Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. And as a quick note, I really just... This is why I can't stand when NXT guys even go to Raw. Like, yeah, it's exciting sometimes when they first make their debut. It gets like, sometimes it gets a pop from the crowd, unless it's when Ricochet and Aleister Black debuted in like the middle of fucking Nebraska to crickets. But this is why I hate, because Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn just completely don't know how to handle this town. They don't know how to make people feel that special anymore, unless it's their fucking hand-chosen favorites, and that's it. So anyway, moving on. It's Roode and Gable versus them. And I had a feeling that tonight was going to be the night that Roode turned heel on Chad Gable. This was obviously not the point, because not the case, because I knew they weren't winning this match. And it's really crazy how far Roode has really fallen off. I mean, this is like the smarkiest crowd of the year in the Raw after Mania. He comes out, usually people are singing his theme song, not a fucking word was said. Basically utter fucking silence. So yeah, WWE did a fantastic job ruining this man's character. I don't know what else you want me to say. One can only hope he turns heel on Gable eventually, and they put him in an IC title picture with his NXT gimmick, but I doubt that's going to happen. Whatever. We got this random mid-entrance picture-in-picture promo from Roode and Gable, and they're stating that they will get back to the top by any means necessary. So you knew in some way they were kind of turning heel, which kind of happened at the end of this match. During this match, the crowd starts doing the wave. Now, I do find this a disrespectful thing to do, but I blame WWE and its lack of creative. Nobody cares about the tag team title, so why are we going to care about a tag team match that doesn't mean anything? It's not for a title, it's not for a #1 contender. It literally means nothing. So why the fuck is the crowd going to be invested in it, and when they can just do the wave and entertain themselves, since WWE fails to do so? So they start doing the wave. You know, there's nothing else to say. The tag division is so unimportant that nobody cares about it. Nobody literally gives a zero fucks about the tag team titles almost on either show. SmackDown's a little bit better, but it is what it is, man. You don't see people doing the wave at NXT events, and that includes TakeOver, because the crowd is usually just too invested in the stories and the action to want to do anything else. They just want to see the wrestling and the stories unfold in the ring. There's no stories here, people. Monday Night Raw has no stories going. Their stories are lame, and right now they literally don't have any stories going on at all, especially on Raw. I mean, we got the shake-up next week, but are you expecting anything great? We got a shake-up last year. Did it do anything great? Fuck no. It didn't do shit. It's the same shit with different people. Doesn't matter what show you put on, or what people you put on what show. If the creative isn't there and the booking is terrible, the show's going to be trash. I don't give a fuck if you got a prime Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels coming back. If they're booked like shit, nobody's going to care. So, anyway, we get to the end of this match. Ricochet gets the match when he hits a code breaker, and then Roode kind of attacks Ricochet at the end, so I guess it's kind of like a small heel turn for them. It's not like a full-fledged heel turn. It's not like they did anything crazy dastardly or anything. He just literally clubbed them from behind, and then that's it. They left the ring. It's not like they started destroying them and started hitting finishers or anything. They just clubbed them and then left. I hope they get a full heel turn, because it's the only thing that can at least try to get me somewhat invested in him. I think Bobby Roode's a much better heel than he is a face. He's been an absolutely awful face ever since he came up to the main roster. He's done nothing. He started off as a face, and his character died a horrible death. We then get Elias backstage, and he's basically saying he was supposed to give the biggest fucking performance of his life last night, and he got interrupted by John Cena for second year in a row. And he pretty much says anybody who interrupts him tonight, including Vince McMahon himself, there will be hell to pay. So, obviously, everyone's expecting a big interruption, or an interruption from somebody of relevance, or somebody of excitement. I was kind of hoping it was The Rock, because I've been waiting to see The Rock and Elias just kind of go back and forth, even though they probably wouldn't have them go back and forth, because John Cena basically just came out last night, and Elias didn't get a word in. Though I will say, that segment last night was absolutely fantastic, but again, I will touch on it more tomorrow. Anyway, Elias can't get buried anymore, so you might as well just milk him for everything he's worth, while he's still somewhat popular, and just make moments out there while the fans still care. Because slowly but surely, the fans are not going to care. I mean, how many times can he just come out, do the same shtick, and then just keep getting interrupted, and for people to keep caring? It's not going to last much longer, I'm telling you right now. Dean Ambrose is out next. And we're told on screen and by the announcers that this is his last match in WWE. I was not aware that tonight was going to be his last match. I knew his contract was coming up soon, but apparently tonight's his last match. So congratulations, Dean Ambrose. Your last match is just about as bad as Kurt Angle's, because you're taking on Bobby Trashley. I can't say that I'm sad to see him go. He's done nothing, or he's been booked to do nothing of importance or excitement the last few years. And basically ever since his disappointing match with Lesnar at WrestleMania 32, he's been utter garbage. Anyway, so moving on here. Like I said, he's been booked like utter garbage. Lashley then comes out. Bobby Lashley. Who cares? Whatever the fuck you want to call him. But going back to Dean Ambrose really quick. This could be a swerve, but at this point, I highly fucking doubt it. Dean Ambrose is as good as gone. I don't think you're gonna see him anytime fucking soon on WWE television. And honestly, it's for the better for him, because he's, like I said, he's been booked to do nothing. So who cares? Anyway, Bobby Lashley comes out. He's with Leo Rush as usual. Grabs the mic for some reason. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why the fuck are they giving Bobby Lashley the microphone? Luckily, he just has a quick one-liner, which at least got the crowd to react. He pretty much just comes out and he says, while he's standing on the apron, "I know this is your last match, Dean, but don't worry, while you're gone, I'll take real good care of your wife for you." This pretty much sets Dean off. He starts attacking Lashley. Lashley eventually does get the upper hand as they battle up to the stage. And he delivers a spinebuster through the announce table that's up on the stage area. So, the man comes out, insults his wife, and then the guy whose wife's insulted utterly looks like a fucking idiot at the end by getting put through a table. You know, whatever. Goodbye, Dean Ambrose. You haven't been doing anything of importance. Nobody's really gonna miss you. At least we don't have to worry about the Shield getting back together again for like the fucking 1,728th time. It is what it is, man. I mean, does anybody really care? Is anybody really that big of a Dean Ambrose fan? What the fuck has he done since WrestleMania 32 that's really still got you invested in this guy? And it's not his fault. I'm not saying it's his fault. I like Dean Ambrose. I thought he was a great character at one point. I thought he had huge potential, but hey, man, they dropped the ball with him. So that's what you get when you got shitty creative who can't book for more than 2 or 3 fucking people at a time, or if you're not one of their hand-chosen people. We then cut backstage, right? And here's that thing that I said I was kind of excited for, or I would have been excited for, but then they utterly fucking ruined at the end. They cut to backstage, and you just randomly see Sami Zayn walking down the hallway. And it looks like he's obviously getting ready for like a match, because he's all in his gear. And I don't understand this. Why the fuck would you ruin a return that people have actually been looking forward to by just randomly showing him backstage, walking towards gorilla position to come out for a match or a promo or whatever it is? You couldn't just come back from commercial and then his music just hits and the fucking people go crazy? You really got to show him backstage? Nonsense. Fucking nonsense. WWE is so bad at returns from injury or anything that back in the day they used to be fucking extremely creative. I mean, look at Jericho's fucking comebacks. You know, you'd get back in the day you had the one time Jericho came back, you had like the little girl and saying, you know, somebody's coming and blah 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 and all this fucking cryptic bullshit, and it was fucking great when Jericho came back. Then you had when the Undertaker came back. Back in the day when he was interrupted by Triple H the same night and they had the whole fucking countdown thing. Then you had another one of Jericho's comebacks when you had the guy fucking running with the torch and then Jericho clotheslines him backstage and then he comes out with the countdown against Randy Orton. You know? You had fucking the time The Rock came back when Vince McMahon thought it was Stone Cold coming back and then some goon came out and told Vince no, it wasn't Stone Cold, and then The Rock's music hit. You know, that's exciting. You know, or when Mick Foley was about to be jumped by La Resistance and then The Rock came out and JR fucking almost shit his pants. They used to do returns so fucking cool back in the day. Nowadays, they fucking ruin it every time. They either announce it a week ahead or they do something like they did tonight and just pan to the guy backstage for utterly no fucking reason. Other than to pretty much kill the moment that it could have been. I mean, when he came out, he still got a pretty big pop, but it would have been a lot more exciting for everybody in the arena as well as at home if they would have just queued his music up and let him come out. It is what it is, man. So they show him backstage and we go to commercial. We come back from commercial. And we get the back of Mojo Rawley's head. He's now talking to a broken mirror, so I guess he's moving up in the world. He's got a broken mirror now, and he's sporting some kind of new face paint around his eye. I don't know. What the fuck's going on here? Is he going to join Jeff Hardy and form a stable with the Hardy Boys, and they're all just going to paint their faces? Is he going to fucking... What is he going to do? He's going to do nothing. He's going to keep talking into mirrors. You know, this is what winning the Battle Royal in your career does to you. It makes you go crazy. You start talking into mirrors and painting your face and not being on television in any kind of relevance. So there you go. Congratulations, Mojo Rawley. You're really going places. Sami Zayn then eventually makes his way out. Like I said, he got a nice pop. The crowd singing his song, which is nice to hear. Cole then tells us that Renee Young went to the back with her husband to check on him and probably won't be back out for the rest of the night. I'm thinking good. She's terrible on commentary anyway. She's not needed. Sami Zayn basically comes back in the ring, says, "Hello, I'm back, blah, blah, blah." Nothing of anything crazy. He basically has like an open challenge for anybody who wants to compete because he's in the mood for a match. I'm kind of hoping for Nakamura to come out, and I understand he's on SmackDown, but hey, fuck, we got SmackDown running wild all over this show tonight, so, you know, why the fuck not? You know, it could have been a nice little throwback. I guarantee you it would have got a pop out of the crowd because most of the crowd in there remembers their match that they had at NXT TakeOver Dallas in that opening match when Nakamura made his debut, and it was absolutely fucking fantastic. But we didn't get that. Instead, we got Finn Balor, and I guess this will do. I'm not into Balor at all anymore. After the Demon last night, and I had no excitement. I just realized that I just don't care about this guy or his character anymore. He's been ruined to the point I really just don't care, and I don't know if I'm ever going to care again. And that's a shame. It really is. So anyway, he comes out. He accepts the challenge. And I'm thinking in my head, this will probably be a good match. You know, we haven't really had anything of good wrestling on the show yet. So I'm like, Sami Zayn's coming back. He's going against Balor. They're both good wrestlers. Maybe we'll get a good match. So we're then told that the match has been turned into an Intercontinental title match. So I guess Finn Balor requested that this match have a telling line, and another case of talent just randomly making their own matches and their own fucking stipulations and their own title matches, and just the whole kit. There's no fun. Nobody makes matches anymore in the back. It's just all made by the talent. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't want to see general managers on Raw every single week coming out and taking up TV time, but something like a William Regal where he comes out once in a while to make matches and, you know, make important announcements about things, I'd be fine with that. But nowadays we just got the talent. They make their own matches. That's how it goes. Anyway, we then get a sudden commercial, and I don't know if I've ever said it here. I'm sure I have, but I absolutely fucking can't stand commercials. This is why I watched the show on a delay. Unfortunately for me, I didn't want my if anything was going to happen on Raw, I didn't want it to be ruined by fucking social media or any kind of notifications on my phone, so I decided to start watching at 8:30. And by this time, I caught up to live television, so now I have to deal with commercials. We come back, Sami Zayn sporting a new haircut. He no longer has his crazy fucking thick red hair. It's all kind of pretty much shaved down. Also, Renee Young is back on commentary, but doesn't want to talk about Ambrose. I'd rather you just not talk at all. How about you just stay silent on the commentary, because you add nothing to it, as usual. The match starts off pretty slow. Not in a bad way. I mean, it starts off with your classic like amateur wrestling, bunch of different arm bars, and them just constantly reversing each other. This pretty much came to a stop once Balor hit a beautiful looking drop kick that hit Sami right in the face, and the shoulder, and the neck. During this match, you just see a nice shot of Sami Zayn's back, and it's all fucking bruised, all topped by his shoulder blades and his upper back. I don't know exactly what the fuck caused this. Maybe it happened during the commercial break. I wouldn't know, because they keep going to commercial. I think they went to commercial 2 times during this match. Way to take me out of the match. You know, you want to get excited for something, but then there's just random commercials. I mean, can they not give us the Raw after Mania be commercial free? It's not like they can't afford it. Believe me, they can afford it. You can't give us the biggest Raw of the year. You can't make it commercial free, so we don't have to deal with this shit, so we can get invested in the entire show, even though there really wasn't anything to get invested in. Still, it would have been nice to not have to deal with fucking commercials every 6.5 minutes. Anyway, we come back. Sami hits a beautiful Blue Thunder Bomb for a close 2. I wish this was his finisher, because it looks a lot better than the Helluva Kick. I wish the Helluva Kick was more like a setup, and then that can lead into the Blue Thunder Bomb. But it is what it is. The match is then ended when Zayn goes for a Helluva Kick. He misses. He pretty much just falls into where Balor hits the coup de grace, and that was the end of the match. I thought this was going to be a much better match, but it was okay for what we did see. But, you know, like I said, I just don't really give a flying fuck about Finn Balor. I just really don't. He does nothing for me. I don't really care that he has the IC title. The IC title means absolutely nothing. And Sami Zayn loses his comeback match. So, congratulations, Sami Zayn, for being one of the few on a list of people who lose their return match. Goes to show you what they think of Sami Zayn. They then have Sami Zayn. It's great to see him back, but then they have him grab a mic and just say utter garbage. He starts talking about how it seems like everybody misses him. The crowd starts cheering. They start chanting his name. Then he says he didn't miss us. He says the WWE is a toxic place, and it's not because of the McMahons or the other superstars backstage, but it's because of the audience, of course. So right off the bat, this is a Vince McMahon written promo, so he can say it through Sami Zayn to us, pretty much saying that we don't get joy out of the show itself, but we get joy out of being critics. Well, I don't know, Sammy. Yeah, we are critics. I don't know if you've seen Monday Night Raw, especially for the last 6 years, but it's been god-awful. Okay? And it's going to continue to be god-awful as long as Vince McMahon's in control. The day Vince McMahon is not in control and Triple H takes over, maybe then hope will be something that we can actually hold on to, and thinking that this show is going to get any better. He just then continues to basically shit on the crowd, you know, insult after insult, calling us all pretty much marks, and we don't know jack shit, and basically saying pretty much for the most part that we should just enjoy it for what it is. You know, we need to stop being critics, and we don't have the balls to do something. That I started just not caring after a while, because I just seen the agenda that was coming here with this fucking promo that he was cutting. Extremely Vince McMahon driven, and it's fucking disgusting. The promo was fucking lame, and it's just WWE trying to mask their own failures on Raw and all of their awful creative decisions that are just not exciting. So instead of just making the show better and actually being creative, they have Sami Zayn come out and shit on the crowd for being such huge critics and constantly being unhappy with the product. Yeah, we keep watching in hopes that it gets better, but honestly, the WWE and the word hope don't belong in the same sentence, at least not on the main roster. But I mean, fuck it, man. What are you gonna do? Vince McMahon is just gonna continue to fucking spew this garbage until the day he's no longer in control. And then we'll probably have Triple H doing the same thing eventually anyway too. We'll see. At least Triple H makes the talent feel important and different. Unlike Vince McMahon, where everybody on Raw feels exactly the same, nobody feels different. Anyway, they're not fooling us with the Sami Zayn fucking promo. But again, thank you for your overly scripted promo brought to you by Vince McMahon. Up next, we don't walk with Elias. We get buried with Elias. You can also, by the way, because they kept saying it throughout the whole night, how they were in Brooklyn and New York, you could just see the excitement in their voice, or you can hear the excitement in their voice, how excited they are they can finally say New York. Because from the minute the build-up of WrestleMania started, all the way up until last night especially, they just couldn't help themselves in their continuous fucking verbiage of the shadow of New York City. They just couldn't find it in themselves to say the state of New Jersey. No matter how much it's happening in New Jersey, they just can't fucking say it. And I don't understand why. When they're in Tampa next year, are they going to say in the shadow of Miami? I don't fucking understand this bullshit. I really fucking don't. I really, really don't. Anyway, we get some new interviewer backstage. Apparently her name is Sarah. She's interrupted by Dana Brooke, who lets us know that her name's Sarah. Nobody cares what you have to say. But she does say that there's a line forming to challenge Becky. She also says that she's not in the front of the line, but she's also isn't in the back. And she's right. She's not in the line whatsoever. The only line that she's in is the line that leads to catering, where they're serving the food backstage. That's where you're in the line, and you belong nowhere near any women's championships. You don't even belong on the roster. You really don't. You don't do anything for anybody. Nobody's a fan of yours. The only way somebody would be a fan of yours is that if they find her attractive. And if you do, then hey, to each their own. I'm not going to judge you on that, but hey, she is about as exciting as watching paint dry or watching grass grow. She does nothing. She's done nothing of relevance her entire career. I don't know why she's constantly backstage getting interviewed. She does nothing. I don't even remember. When was the last time she won a match? Somebody tell me, because I can't remember. So then we cut, and now it's time to bury Elias. He comes out, he says Cena's no artist, and that he was just riding the coattails of his popularity. And then he tells us how easy it is to rap. And in his rap, he has he only has like 2 fucking bars, even though he says he's gonna drop bars. I guess 2 bars is bars, whatever. He says he can't be buried. He said, he comes out and he says, the golden shovel is what Cena brought or some shit, and that's what you do. And then he's holding up 3 fingers, and he says, Cena, the middle one's for you. That was a decent line. I laughed a little bit. And then he says, something plan, and the next person to interrupt him is a dead man. As soon as he said that, I already know what was coming, and about 2 seconds later, you heard a gong. Crowd pops pretty loud. You know, obviously it's the Undertaker. It's always going to get a pop from a live crowd. And he comes out. He steps in the ring. Elias looks like he's going to leave the ring, but then he decides to stay in the ring. And then him and the Undertaker kind of take turns taking steps closer to each other, like they're going to start brawling. Elias then turns his back to the Undertaker, and then he goes to charge at the Undertaker, and he's met with a boot from the Phenom right to his face. It's followed by a chokeslam and a tombstone. Elias is buried by the man who digs holes and takes souls. So there you go. Thank you for coming, Elias. You did a great service for us tonight. You took a big boot, a chokeslam, and a tombstone that the Undertaker struggled on. So after seeing Undertaker struggle tombstoning Elias, I'm sort of glad that we didn't see him last night, or at least not in a match. Because I don't know if he can go. He probably just can't go anymore. The only thing I'd want to see him in is, I mean, unless he can actually go for at least 10 minutes. And if Sting can go, because apparently it's rumored that Sting would come out of retirement for the Undertaker. But I mean, it would be nice to at least see some kind of showdown or some kind of segment with Sting and the Undertaker together in the same ring, to at least give us something, because we've never seen it, and the clock is ticking to the point where it's just never going to happen. And if nothing ever happens between the two, there's no kind of altercation or some kind of face-to-face meeting in the ring, then that's really just one of the biggest balls dropped in the history of professional wrestling. So it's one thing that fans have been wanting to see for the longest time, and I really just don't know if we're ever going to see it, but we'll see what happens. This segment, it didn't do a whole lot for me. I mean, yeah, it's nice to see The Undertaker. The crowd popped hard, so it was a moment nonetheless, but it really just didn't do anything. I'm sure if I was there, I would have popped just because of what Taker means to me and basically my entire life since I've been watching him since I was like 5 years old. Pretty much the beginning of his career, but I mean, he looked to be in good shape. You know, he didn't look bad, but like I said, he struggled a little bit on the tombstone for a slight second, and, you know, if that's the case, then, you know, maybe he really shouldn't have any more matches at all, but we'll see. And like I said, I'd like to see him at least go face-to-face somewhere down the line with Sting in some kind of way, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Anyway, this brings us to our main event. At this point, I'm just completely out of the show. The show has just been absolutely just extremely lackluster up to this point. And I mean, I knew this match wasn't going to have a clean finish, or we weren't going to have a finish with a decisive winner. But what we got, which we're about to get into, is just absolutely ridiculous. So, and also as a quick note, the one thing that WWE has going right for them is the ring announcers both on Raw and SmackDown. They have two of the best ring announcers you could possibly ask for right now. You got Mike Rome on Monday Night Raw, who's fantastic, and you got Greg Hamilton on SmackDown, who's just as good, if not a little bit better than Mike Rome. They're both great at their jobs, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't miss JoJo one fucking bit. I really don't. And I hope that if she does return, that she doesn't return to be a ring announcer. I really just don't give a fuck if she ever comes back at all. You know, I don't want to see anybody out of work, but I don't miss her, and I don't. If she comes back, I really don't want to see her ring announcing again, because I don't think she did a very good job. And she's pregnant anyway, so we're not going to see her anytime soon. So now we all know where Bray Wyatt is. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, I totally didn't write this in my notes, but there was, at some point during Raw, there was like this little fucking vignette, and it was like a fucking, like a Jack-in-the-Box thing with like a fucking turkey head on it, and it was just sitting there laughing, and then right before it ended, it kind of did like the whole Bray Wyatt fucking screen effect where it just like flashes away real quick with the fucking turkey head like zooming close in on the screen, and then it just cut away, and Michael Cole's like, what the hell was that? Yeah, nobody knew what the hell was going on. The only thing I can think of is Bray Wyatt. It was the first thing that came to my mind. The minute I saw this, well, I'm not gonna say the minute I saw it. At first I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but as soon as I saw that cutaway at the end where it like zoomed in on the turkey head, like kind of like the Bray Wyatt thing did with the sheet mask back in the day, or with his laughing face, it did it as you know, his fucking thing eventually started to evolve. That's the first thing that came to my mind, and I'm sure you guys thought the same thing. So, is this Bray Wyatt? Is this a sign of Bray Wyatt coming back? I think so. I can't tell you for 100% sure that that's correct, but if I was a betting man, I would bet on possibly a returning Bray Wyatt coming soon. Am I excited for it? I mean, I am a fan of the Bray Wyatt character, even though it really hasn't done shit in a very long time. But I'm still a fan nonetheless. I think it's untapped potential there. Especially since The Undertaker is not a regular on TV anymore, or Kane, or any of these other characters, and Finn Balor barely does the Demon. Then when he does do the Demon, I don't care. So I would like to see Bray Wyatt back and hopefully get booked in a better light than what he was for the past 4 years, 5 years, whatever the fuck it is. So going back to this main event, the crowd, or I'm sorry, the match was okay for in the beginning. You know, it started off again a little bit slow, nothing too exciting. Then it started to get good when Rollins and Kofi were on the top rope, and Rollins threw Kofi to the outside. He crashed into the barricade pretty hard, and then it's just quickly interrupted by the Bar. Now, I don't understand why the fucking Bar, of all people, interrupted this match. I really don't know what the bar has to do with Kofi Kingston or fucking Seth Rollins right now. They're not feuding with the New Day anymore. We've seen it already. It's over and done with. The bar lost last night at WrestleMania, and I don't understand why they're on Raw. And not only that, but they come out, they start beating up on Kofi and Rollins. Rollins and Kofi start getting the upper hand, throw the bar to the outside. Rollins then grabs a mic, and he says to Kofi, we're going to have to finish this at another time. Crowd instantly starts shitting all over it, starts booing their asses off. Don't really blame them. Even though we all kind of pretty much saw this coming, but what we got next is just utter fucking ridiculousness. We get a impromptu tag team match between Kofi and Rollins teaming up against the bar. Rollins just says, as long as Kofi's cool with it, I'll team up and we'll take care of these two who interrupted a big match. And like I said, the talent apparently now makes all the matches on the show. And it doesn't even matter what show you're on. So our main event tonight was just really, literally booked by the talent, and it was booked with 3 guys who aren't even on Monday Night Raw. You had Kofi in the bar. 3 fucking guys. They're not even on Monday Night Raw, and yet they're just randomly booking their own matches in the main event of the Raw after Mania. I don't know what sense this makes. This makes no fucking sense. And so we get this tag team match. The crowd is shitting all over it. They're not paying attention. You got the crowd that you can see on the camera side where the camera's facing. That entire side of the crowd is not even looking in the ring. They're looking up in the fucking nosebleeds. I don't know what the fuck was going on in the crowd. They were probably doing the wave again. There might have been a beach ball. I don't know what was going on, but their attention was completely not on this match, and I don't fucking blame them at this point. I really don't. It's not even to the point of being disrespectful to the performers in the ring. It's literally the disrespect that the WWE gives to their fans. In what universe do the fans want to see as the main event, the last thing they see on the biggest Raw of the year? They want to see a tag team match between the 2 world champions taking on a fucking team of utter irrelevance who haven't fucking won a match in quite some time now. They literally lost a fucking gauntlet match to the New Day. They both lost single-handedly to Kofi Kingston in another gauntlet match. And and you're gonna tell me that this is the reason why they interrupted this match tonight, because Kofi beat them in a gauntlet match? Really? This is what you're focused on? You lost the tag team titles, and now it's like, fuck it, we lost the tag team title match, now we're just go beat up Kofi on Monday Night Raw and ruin something that the fans were looking forward to. So I mean, like I said, I knew that we weren't going to get an undisputed champion tonight where somebody walks on with both belts, but I mean, this is what you give us instead, though? Is some shitty impromptu tag team match between these fucking 4 guys? Which is then a shitty match. I had no interest in it. I literally wasn't paying attention. I was probably looking on my phone, just checking over my fucking notes here, or going on fucking Facebook, or playing Clash of Clans or something. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Not paying attention to this match, really. The match pretty much ends. Kofi hits a Trouble in Paradise, tags in Rollins, and he hits a curb stomp 1, 2, 3 on Cesaro. Cesaro sold the curb stomp. It looked disgusting. It was awful. And that's basically how the show went off the air. So, this is why I say WWE and the word hope, or at least WWE main roster and the word hope in the same sentence don't belong. If you're one of the fans that holds on to hope, like I do on occasion, obviously we all hold on to some kind of hope, that's why we continue to watch, but if you're one of the fans that legit does hold on to hope for the main roster, I suggest that you watch NXT while you wait, because there is no hope of this show getting any better any fucking time soon. So if you want something that's going to at least make you feel somewhat good in the meantime, I suggest you watch NXT, because at least NXT will give you some great storylines, some fantastic wrestling, won't insult your intelligence, and doesn't oversaturate their superstars by showing them every single week, fucking constantly for God knows how long. Just look at Ricochet and Aleister Black. They've literally been on every show for like the past 2 weeks, including last week where you had Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TakeOver, WrestleMania. So 5 times in 1 week we've seen Aleister Black and Ricochet, and already they feel unimportant because you overexpose these guys, and then they don't feel important. You don't need to have everybody in every show. every single week, and you don't need these shows to be 3 hours long. And with the rumor of SmackDown going to 3 hours long, I can't even imagine. If SmackDown goes to 3 hours long, you might as well just say goodbye to the entire main roster being any bit of excitement, because 6 hours of weekly television is just fucking overkill, man. Just look at WrestleMania last night. 8 hours of just mediocre fucking wrestling and mediocre moments and a few cool moments, and that's about it. But like I said, I'm gonna do a review for that tomorrow, hopefully. But I don't know what you want me to say, man. Like I said, at least with NXT, you'll get consistent excitement, and things will make sense, and you won't be insulted on a fucking weekly basis. The crowd tonight, while they were decent, they weren't all that great for a Raw After Mania crowd. I think the crowd that I was in at Mania 20, or the one after Mania 29, where Ziggler cashed in, was way better. I don't think any crowd's ever going to top that, and I'm not saying that just because I was there. It was just, that's basically where the Raw After Mania crowds really started to get noticed, and they made a whole 24 special on it. So tonight was just overly disappointing. Like I said, nothing of excitement, and I didn't care, man. If you cared, then God bless you, because I did not, and that's all I gotta say, man. That was your Monday Night Raw. So nothing else to say here, man. So I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I'm hoping tomorrow's SmackDown is at least relatively good, but we got an announcement of a tag team match with AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan, and that's not something I'm excited to see. It's really not. Maybe they'll do something with it, but as far as we were told, that's the main event tomorrow. It's not something that's exactly got me fucking holding out hope for tomorrow's show, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I'm getting out of here, man. You guys have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow night for SmackDown Live. Have a good night, guys.